Record. And I am going to say welcome everybody to another winter webinar. This time we have Ryan Garner, who, as well as being a member of Skydive Langar staff, who a lot of you will already know for being a tandem instructor, being a wingsuiting coach, being around the drop zone all the time. He's also an international wingsuiting competitor, and he is also involved in XRW. So he's going to be talking about that for us this evening. So over to you, Ryan. Take it away.
Amazing stuff. So, hi guys, how we doing? So yeah, this is going to be a brief 20-minute chat about how to become a wingsuiter, and then things you can do once you have started flying wingsuits and how to progress throughout the sport and so on. So we'll go and start off with what is a wingsuit. Actually, what is a wingsuit? So a wingsuit is essentially a specifically designed flying suit that almost acts like a canopy. So it inflates with air, and along with good body position, good technique, will allow you to fly faster forward and reduce your vertical speed. So it's in terms we're trying to get the longest distance in terms of flying. So here you can see there's a couple of photos of one of an exit and then one of myself actually flying. We can change the speeds, can be anything up to 50 kilometers an hour vertically, and they can get up to around about the 200 kilometers a mark, 200 plus kilometers an hour mark horizontally across the sky. So it just gives you a little bit of an insight. There's lots of different types of wingsuits, starting from small beginner suits up to your advanced competition race suits. So we'll have a look at those. We'll have a look at those shortly. How to actually get into wingsuiting. So the first thing you've actually got to do is you've got to be a qualified skydiver. So get a skydiving license, get jumping. And the best thing that I can recommend to start with is get a really good foundation in formation flying. So learn to fly on your belly, which gives you the basic controls that you'll need, which will relate subsequently into when you're going to fly your wingsuit. So learn to fly with other people in formation, be confident, be proficient, and also the really important thing is to be really current. So you want to be at the drop zone, you want to be jumping on a regular basis, learning different skills. Free flying is also a really good idea. You don't have to be super amazing at free flying, but it's a really good idea to start, and it's really helpful to learn to fly your body in different orientations, so that if you were to go unstable at any point whilst flying a wingsuit, you've got a kind of a feeling of what that already feels like. And flying in a free fly configuration, whether that is head up or head down, that will benefit you in the long run. What else do you need? You need to have a British Skydiving C license or equivalent, and there is jump number limitations as well. So typically, I'll tend to train people who have got 200 jumps within the last 18 months of their skydiving. So you've got to kind of be within that bracket. Alternatively, once you've got that 500 jump limit or 500 jump total, then you can learn to wingsuit, not necessarily having that last 200 jumps within that 18-month window. So they're the two kind of jump number requirements that you're going to need to look at. Going on to a canopy course is a really good way to learn how to fly your canopy. When you are flying a wingsuit, you tend to open quite a lot further away from jump run, from where you would expect to be under canopy normally. So learning canopy courses, and at Langar they do a bunch of different ones. So through Ali or Joe, you can get onto these courses, learn how to fly, learn techniques on how to fly your canopy that works the most efficient way in order for you to land back on the drop zone. Now that is the most important thing, is landing back safely, back on your intended landing area. So get yourselves booked onto a canopy course. Ali or Joe are there to help you out, and yeah, that will really, really benefit you from once your canopy is actually out. And then finally, obviously, tracking. All right, you've got to have your tracking one, so your TR1 certificate, before you can even think about going onto flying wingsuits. So tracking, for some of you that don't necessarily know, is the forward movement of your body across the sky, just wearing a regular jumpsuit. You can get coaching at Langar the whole time, and this will help you start to understand the basics of navigation. Navigation when you are flying wingsuits is extremely important. So I would say it's actually the most important thing is the navigation, as opposed to flying the suit to the really highest of your of ability and technique. Being able to exit an aircraft, fly to a specific point is a lot more important in terms of the safety. So again, a really good foundation in tracking, and then you can move on to something called tracking suits, which a lot of people are starting to fly, not only around the world, but especially at Langar. There's quite a few tracking suit guys knocking around at the minute. These are essentially the introductory side to wingsuits, which it's not a necessity, but it's something I'd highly recommend that people do. The suit acts relatively similar in terms of it inflates. It allows you to have a longer time in free fall, so you can get around about 1.5 to 2 minutes wearing a tracking suit, depending on how well you're flying the suit. It also gives you the foundations of the knowledge on how the navigational side works, because you will have a very similar navigational pattern flying a tracking suit to when you come to fly the wingsuit. And it also reduces the stress levels, as you won't have your arms and legs restricted. You can go belly to earth wearing the suit, and it just makes deployments and exits a lot less stressful. So it's a really, really good idea to have a few goes in a tracking suit before you get into the wingsuit. However, as I said, it's not a necessity. What other things do you actually need to go wingsuiting? So you need the suitable canopy. So anybody flying a Valkyrie or a really high performance parachute is probably not the ideal canopy for flying wingsuits. A docile, big 7-cell canopy is what you need. You can buy specific wingsuit canopies, but that's not a necessity. You can get something like a Storm, like a Spectre, or even something like an even bigger 9-cell canopy like a Pulse or a Sabre will be absolutely fine. You don't necessarily want to have your wing loading much over 1 to 1.2, as it will just make deployments a lot more stressful. You'll have a lot more potential of inducing twists, which, as we all know, a higher wing loading, if you were to have twists and it was to dive, would make those rotations go around a lot faster than you might necessarily want when you're wearing a restrictive wingsuit. Other things that you may consider is different style of pilot chutes. So for myself, I fly a Snatch pilot chute, which it's designed by Squirrel. They're great pilot chutes. They are a different shape, as you can see. I don't know if you can see the blue pilot chute there. It's got a bigger mesh and a larger zero porosity material around it, so it actually works better in lower air speeds to give your canopy the best extraction possible. The other thing that is a really good idea to have, and especially for the smaller wingsuits, isn't a necessity, but as you move up and progress through the wingsuits, a longer bridle will help you to get your pilot chute out of the burble, which is going to be behind you. So the dead air behind your body will be much greater in a wingsuit than if you were just to be going formation skydiving or free flying, for example. You've got to have an AED, just like everything else, pretty much everything else in skydiving. So make sure you've got your AED. And the other thing I recommend is a chest-mounted altimeter. Having a altimeter on your hand will be relatively difficult to see through the flying side. So having one on your chest will just make things a lot easier, so you can be altitude aware throughout your wingsuit skydive without changing your body position so much. And the other thing that you need to have is an audible, just so that you don't lose altitude awareness. So learning how to fly a wingsuit, what actually happens? So I'll give you a ground school. The ground school isn't done on a time frame. It's done on the knowledge that I need to hand over to whoever I'm coaching. So we're going to talk about how the wingsuit actually works, so how it inflates, how it's designed, how the fit of the wingsuit is important to your flying, how to actually attach the wingsuit to your parachute system, to your rig. There's a lot of people won't actually understand how that works. So having the knowledge of doing that, you'll need to understand that side of things. We'll have a look at the flying side of the suit. So look at exits. So how to exit the aircraft safely and stably. It's not about looking awesome on the exit to start with. It's about not hitting the tail and not going unstable and keeping that focus on the navigational side. So being able to see the ground throughout your skydive is really important, and that all comes from initially all comes from a good exit. We'll look at body positional stuff. So the basic body positional side of flying the wingsuits, so how they turn, how they actually move forward, what angle of attack you're going to be looking at, and yeah, how to actually fly the wingsuit itself, which you can see the two photos photographed in the middle. They are one of Wayne and can't remember the name. Brent Wu. Oh my God, I forgot Brent Wu. Yeah, Brent Wu flying the wingsuit for his WS1. And then finally, we'll look at the deployments. So deployment side, it's to an extent, one of the more important aspects of wingsuit flying is actually opening your canopy. So how to shut the suit down, how to go for your deployment handle, and then what to do once your canopy has started to extract from your container. So there are a few little things that we'll look at in a lot more detail when we come to do your wingsuit ground school. Other things we'll look at, a big side is the navigation. I'll spend a lot of time going through navigational sides of wingsuit flying. You need to be able to see the drop zone at all times, really. So considering weather conditions, think about how much cloud there is, whether or not when you get up to altitude, can I see the drop zone? Because one of the worst things you can do whilst wingsuit flying is getting out and then getting completely lost. You don't want to be landing in unfamiliar territory, so you want to be opening relatively close to the airfield and landing nice and safely on the big landing area that we have at Langar. So choosing the right weather conditions and really nailing through that navigational side is really important. And then we'll talk about what happens once the canopy is open. So once you've got a fully deployed canopy, what are you going to do? Because you're still attached into this wingsuit. How and in what procedure, what order of procedure are you going to be undoing that wingsuit so that you can fly your canopy, get your canopy back on heading so you're not flying further afield, for example, if you don't have an on-heading opening. What to do if you get twists, what to do if you have a malfunctioning canopy. We'll go through all that in a lot of detail when people come to see me for a course. And then finally, we'll talk about the landing. So what to do once your canopy's open and you've opened up your wings, and how to fly back towards your holding area to get back into that landing pattern, so it's not necessarily conflicting with other canopies. So a lot of the free flyers and the trackers, you can expect them to more or less be landing by the time you're opening. However, there may be tandems or AFF, which might be getting into conflicting airspace with yourself. So it's something that you need to think about on what to do once you've got your canopy flying and going, making sure that you land safely on the PLA. I suppose that's one of the more important things. There's a ton of different types of wingsuits. They range from small
wingsuits.
They range from small wingsuits right the way up to
beginner, intermediate, advanced.
I can hear someone chatting. I don't know who that is, but hello. So yeah, beginner wingsuits, really, really nice and easy to fly. They've not got a huge amount of surface area. The wings, as you can see from this first one, the beginner one is attached to the hip, and the leg wing is relatively small. And this is the kind of suit that you'll do for your first flight course. Once you've done 50 to 75 jumps in that particular suit, Then you've got the option to move up to the intermediate suits, which gives you a little bit of a bigger wing, which will give you that little bit extra time in free fall, which will give you more time to play around. They have obviously more performance, so they're faster. They can do a lot more. They're easier, not necessarily easier to fly, but easier to do transitions and when you get into the acrobatic side. The intermediate wingsuits are also, in my opinion, the best wingsuits for when you go flocking. So when you get lots and lots of people, maybe up to 10 and plus ways, the intermediate suits are a great suit to have, and they are a lot of fun. Moving up to the advanced suits. So the advanced suits, you can see that the wing profiles there's a lot more wing to them. These you want to have in the region of 150 to 170 wingsuit jumps before you go putting on an advanced acrobatic wingsuit per se. Things tend to go wrong a lot quicker in these suits in terms of flat spins, instabilities. They're a lot more difficult to exit the aircraft, and they can be more difficult to deploy your canopy. I have known people that have been unable to find their pilot chute, so they've had to go for their reserve parachute instead of their main because they've been unable to throw the pilot chute. The advanced suit, so you can see the Wally suit and you can see my pink and black suit. These are the ones that I will tend to use now for XLW. They've got a lot more range. They're they're quite powerful. You can slow them down, fly at really slow speeds, or you can increase the speed and get a really high speed out of them as well. They're really my favorite all-round suit, and the ones that it's kind of my go-to suit when I'm going flying with most people. And then finally, you've got the competition suits, the race suits. These are extremely powerful suits. They recommend 200 wingsuit skydives before flying one of these, as they're incredibly powerful. They're incredibly twitchy. If you were to make any mistakes flying these suits, they will react in a way that you don't necessarily want them to react. You've really got to be in control of this suit before you've really got to be in control of the suit before you start pushing it. The deployments and the exits as well, they are a lot more difficult. You've got to be a lot more composed on the exit and on the deployment, making sure you're not rushing, making sure you've got enough airspeed in terms of slowing the wingsuit down enough so that you're not trying to open at 200 kilometers an hour or even plus 250 kilometers an hour. You want to slow it down enough, but have enough speed that the pilot chute will do its job. So flying the competition race suits, they're really good fun. They really scare me. They still scare me every time I go flying them. But they are a lot of fun to fly, and you can really feel the speed and the distance that you cover in the race suits. Have a look at different types of wingsuiting. So what different disciplines within the wingsuit world are there? So first thing, when you qualify and you got your WS1 and you're working towards your WS2, the first thing that the majority of people tend to get into is flocking. And flocking is just flying with a bunch of other people, flying in a formation, flying in your slot, and making some really fun skydives with your friends. Really good fun. You don't necessarily need the biggest amount of skill level to be able to fly in a flock, but you need to know the basics of controlling the forward speed, the vertical speed of your wingsuit. We've got acrobatic wingsuiting, so that is it's actually we'll come onto it shortly, but that's part of competition wingsuiting as well. But acrobatic wingsuiting is where it involves transitions, barrel rolls, flips, making grips. You know, as you can see in that first one, we're holding hands, and also the second one, there's a double hand dock on exit. Really good fun to get into. And for that particular discipline, I tend to use the smaller wingsuit just because it gives me a lot more leeway, a lot more room for error if I'm doing quick transitions or doing a flip or whatever else. It just makes life that little bit easier for me. We've touched on performance wingsuiting. So performance wingsuiting, flying big race suits to get as much speed and distance as you can. We can look at wingsuit rodeos, which are really, really good fun, where you have another skydiver sat on your back, and you go for a magic carpet ride around the sky. And in the second photograph, you can see that I've got a bunch of tracking people coming with us, where you can actually eventually build a nice tracking dive alongside a wingsuiter, which is really good fun. So yeah, wingsuit rodeos, really, really good fun. If anybody is wingsuited and wants to try a rodeo, you can try them relatively early on. Just come and find me, and I can give you a brief and show you how to do it, and show you how the exit works, and flight patterns and all that kind of stuff. We've got XRW. A lot of you know XRW is the discipline in wingsuiting that I have tried to specialize in. It's the thing that really interests me, being able to fly with canopies. The visuals and the sensations that you get whilst flying with a canopy is absolutely awesome. I have so much fun when flying with the high performance canopies. However, you do need to find a canopy pilot that's one, on the correct canopy, and two, of the correct skill level that can fly with you, because there's a lot of dangers that come with XRW. When you see the videos, you don't necessarily understand the speeds we're going, but whilst we are flying, there's a lot of speed that we've got, and any small movement makes a big reaction in, one, the canopy, and two, the wingsuit. And then we've got aircraft with formation. So it's a relatively newer discipline, just like XRW. And it's where there's only specific aircraft that can do it. So this one is a Porter. And it's getting a bunch of wingsuiters, or a couple of wingsuiters if you want, to fly alongside that aircraft in a formation. There's not many places in the world that do it. In the UK, there's not actually any. You've got to head off to that. I mean, that one was in Portugal. That photo was taken in Portugal. And I know that they were trying to do some at the Worlds in August in Czech Republic. So yeah, you've got to have the correct aircraft, the correct pilot, and also the correct wingsuit pilots to make this successful. Just show you this little video of the XRW, which I'm sure see. So here we're probably doing in the region of something like 150-ish forwards, which means any tiny movement that I do in the suit will make an impact to the canopy. At this point, Joe is doing most of the work, the canopy pilot, who's doing most of the work at this point once we've docked. We're communicating, we're on comms, so we're talking throughout the skydive, so that we know what we're going to do, we know what each person's going to be doing at what time, so that we can be prepared, for what's going to be happening next. Having a look at wingsuit competition in the UK. So if you want to get into competition, there's two different types of competition. There's performance wingsuiting, three different categories: rookie, intermediate, and advanced. Each discipline, each category will have the three disciplines. So what you're trying to do in speed is generate the fastest horizontal speed between a set window. The distance, you're trying to get the furthest horizontal distance you can get between a set window. And then finally, time, you're looking to stay within that window for as long as possible. So each one will demonstrate a different style of flying. Time for me, I think, is the most difficult. It's the one that burns your arms out and burns your body out after you're trying to max a suit in lift for a minute and a half at a time, and it can be really, really tiring on your entire body. And you come to throw the pilot chute at the end of a time run, and it's one of the most difficult things that I've had to do. Acrobatic wingsuiting. Again, there's 3 different categories: rookie, intermediate, and advanced. For this, you've got a team of 2 plus the camera flyer, where you are all working together. So essentially a team of 3, you're all working together. And it's almost like FS skydiving, where you've got, or free fly skydiving, where you've got a dive pool, where you'll have set rounds and set things to do, like taking docks, doing barrel roll, doing transitions. And then you've got a free round, and the free round is there to really to show off to the judges to what you can actually do. And the judging is also based on the camera work as well. So the cameraman is really a part of the formation, or really part of the routine. And having artistic and really good camera will gain you lots of points. Here you can see this was the results from the recent nationals. Unfortunately, well, Liam he's awesome. He best performance guy in the UK. And then finally, Jack and Neil's team, Turbo Ice Cloud, they the current UK champions in the acrobatic side. Looking at world competitions, so every couple of years they alternate the World Cup and the World Championship. So the World Cup and the European champs, they tend to take the top 6 from nationals to go to these events to put yourself. It's like an introductory to a world stage. The World Championships, that's kind of the creme de la creme, where they only take the top 3. Both events, the World Cup and the World Championships, they'll all have all the top flyers. However, the World Championships, you will see every top flyer there at every single event from there, if they've qualified from their nation. So yeah, competition wingsuiting is really good fun. If anybody's got any interest in that, come and give me a shout. I can talk to you in more detail at a later date about competition wingsuiting. However, I am very, very new to competition wingsuiting. I've only been doing it for the last couple of years. And we'll be heading out to the States in October for the World Champs at the end of this year. So looking forward to that. What to do past, once you've got your WS1 and potentially WS2, what happens next? So you can go and have a look at the wingsuit tunnel, and this is the kind of thing that you can really focus on in acrobatic wingsuiting in the indoor wingsuit tunnel to get those skills up. So this is part of a routine from an acrobatic wingsuit from Jack and Neil's team, who, as I said before, are the current UK champions. And I believe they are going to the World Champs this year as well. So I'll pull that one there. And then looking at WS2. So this is a WS2 coach jump that I did with one of my students. Must have been middle of last year. This is where they learn to fly an unstable exit, and then they'll do movements throughout the jump. So it just gives you a little bit of an idea on how WS2 works. So he's actually flying an intermediate suit at this point. He's done a bunch of jumps already. So I chuck him out the plane as an unstable exit, head down to him, and then I'll be giving him signals on things that I would like him to do throughout the skydive. So here surely I'll get him to come. I'm going to push him away from me a little bit, so get him to change his body position to move himself backwards. This would have been quite early on in his wingsuit. This is to learn how to fly wingsuit formation. So the theory is to make him go forwards, backwards, up, down, left and right, but really, really controlled. I don't want to see him really flying around the sky. I want to see him in a nice controlled motion to do that. So that gives you a little bit of an idea on that. He actually did a really good job on this jump, considering he's not done a huge amount of formation flying. There's a bunch of different camps you can do. So throughout Europe and the world, there are a bunch of different camps. So this one, they've got the Tanuki Fest, which is going to be in Sweden in July, with top world-class organizers. You've got the UK, the only really big UK wingsuit boogie, the Wings of Antonia, which is based at Hinton, Skydive Hinton, which is a really, really good event to go to. If you've got WS1 or WS2, get yourself down to Wings of Antonia. Put the links to those events in the slides as well. And then what to do if you want to really push the boat out a little bit more, you can start learning to base jump and then eventually get into wingsuit base jump. So it's for the guys that really want to push it, making it a lot more dangerous with a lot less room for error. For this, you've got to have lots and lots and lots of skydives in terms of getting onto the wingsuit side. You've got to learn to base jump. Do lots of non-wingsuit base jumps, so get yourselves in the tracking suit and go base jump in the tracking suit, and then get coaching. There's amazing coaches that will teach you how to do this in the base environment. But remember, it's stupid and pointless. But in my opinion, it's the most fun I've ever had flying wingsuits is in the base environment. The visuals and the feeling you get whilst flying down mountains is absolutely incredible. And just got a quick video here to show one of the jumps. But in this there really is very little margin for error. And the exit altitude of that particular jump is only something like 1,500 to 2,000 feet. So it's not particularly high, this jump. And then from open, you can see some landing procedures. In the base world, it's a lot different. As you can see, I've not got a huge amount of time before landing. Another video that just shows what it's like from an outside point of view on an exit to see the drop you have. And at this point, I'm a nervous wreck. Awesome stuff. I think that is it. So, does anybody have any questions?
Thank you very much, Ryan. That was absolutely amazing. And so much awesome information. Lots of people popping up on the chat with many, many questions. Lots of people saying you absolutely nailed it. Thanks for loads of really good knowledge refreshers. Lots of people sounding like they're really inspired by it. We've got 5 minutes, so let me pick some questions out. Martin Sheldon says, what is the requirement for the rodeo rider? So if someone wants to do a wingsuit rodeo and they want to be on the back, is there any requirement for that?
So by the book, no. There isn't anything in terms of British skydiving. You've got to have Richard's or chief instructor's approval. I recommend you've got to at least have a B license, and you've got to know you've got to be able to have your TR1, because you're going to be opening a place where you're not necessarily familiar. So being able to track and being open a little bit further off flight line than expected will really help you, so that you're not kind of put off once your canopy opens, going, oh my God, I'm miles away. So yeah, chief instructor and B license really with TR1.
Wonderful, sounds good. We've got another one from Paul Rimington, who does a lot of wingsuiting himself as well. He says, hi Ryan, do you think British skydiving should look at the current rules on allowing people to jump in bigger wingsuits before learning how to fly the smaller ones that they're currently on?
So good question. This is actually something that I am in the process of writing for Richard. He's asked me to put something together so we can change the SOPs at Langar. I don't think British skydiving will bring anything into force, but at Langar there will be something coming into question soon, in terms of jump requirements, jump numbers, and the amount of coaching that you get at Langar in order to fly the bigger suits, because we're seeing a lot of people putting bigger suits on, having lots of malfunctions. I know last year we've had a lot of malfunctions on opening, whilst people have been upsizing suit, maybe not slightly before they should do, as there's no particular rule about it as of yet, but there will be something coming into place shortly, and I will keep you all updated as and when that comes in.
Wonderful. That's awesome, because there's actually a lot of questions from people regarding malfunctions, and people saying they've heard it's not a case of if you have one, it's more when you have one. And I guess that is one of the biggest considerations, isn't it, for wingsuiting?
Yes, so I've got something in the region of 1,200 wingsuit jumps, and I've had 6 mals. Of those mals, I've had twists, I've had pilot shooting toes, and I've had 1 total. So it's yeah, definitely, probably along with crew, the 2 disciplines that really the malfunction rate is higher.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I guess to put that into context for everybody, the current rate for regular malfunctions is around 1 in 1,200. So 6 in 1,200 just shows you that there is a little bit more risk. Paul Remington says 280 wingsuit jumps with 2 mals. Loud Chimera Girl says this is crazy. One final question for you from Gary. Gary says, is it compulsory to stand in the way that you guys always pose in your wingsuits?
Yes. Gary, I'm assuming that swoop.
I'm assuming so too.
Yeah. We will get photographs of you, so don't you worry, and I will teach you how to wingsuit very soon.
Is that something that you'll include in the ground school, how to do the strong wingsuit pose?
We can do that. We can put that in somewhere for sure.
Excellent. Love to see it. Ryan, that has been absolutely amazing. I know you had some links in the end of your presentation, which hopefully you can share with me, and I'll put them into the blog post around this webinar as well. And then if people want to learn to wingsuit, they can talk to you at Langar, right?
Yeah, I'm at Langar 5 days a week at the minute for sure. That will be reducing in the end of April, June onwards. But for now, yeah, come and find me. I'm typically available for coaching every Monday and Tuesday at guarantee, pretty much. And then if and when I've got time and around the work, yeah, come and give me a shout at Langar. I'm there often. Send me a message, and we can get you guys flying for sure.
Fantastic. That's been absolutely amazing. Thank you very much, Ryan. Thank you to everybody who's joined us to listen. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye, everyone.
See you later, guys. Bye.